Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida has been bleeding visitors for quite some time. If you don't believe us, look at the official numbers. Let's take a look today about what these numbers say, how they have changed over the years, and what it means for the Walt Disney Company going forward today on that park place. Okay, so guys, this is a from Mickey Views here on X. They said Walt Disney World is allocating CapEx toward parks most in need of attendance boosts. Using the latest TEA data, Magic Kingdom is operating at 14% below its 2019 attendance record, while Disney's Animal Kingdom is running at 36% below. Yet Epcot has the best recovery of any Florida park. Now, this 2024 edition of Performance of Each Walt Disney World Theme Park compared to 2019 comes again from MickeyViews.com, and it is very interesting. It is from the TEA index. It's interesting to see how these parks have changed, what has stayed the same, and what Disney might have to do to bring people back in. Because if you look here, Magic Kingdom down 14.9%. Now, obviously, we're comparing 2019 because a little something happened at the end of 2019 called the global lockdowns, and that closed these parks for quite a while, and they never really recovered since. Magic Kingdom now in 2024 had 17.8 million people. Hollywood Studios is down 10.33%. Is down 10%, and Animal Kingdom is down 36.6%, which is massive. But Epcot has only changed 2.5%. It has stayed mostly level. Guys, let's take a look at what that could possibly mean. Vash Sky, why do you think Epcot might be staying pretty level right here at Walt Disney World?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting data that Braden has brought up, and he continued his analysis for the West Coast as well. So if you're interested in the percentage changes of that, you can actually examine that. But he was looking at the CapEx, and he was looking at where the money of this $60 billion proposed investment is going, right? And to his analysis, it's like, okay, this correlates with which parks are doing the worst in terms of recovery and so forth. So when we examine this data, it's really interesting because it kind of coincides with the level of investment that we've seen. So like Epcot having had the most recent round of investment, we've seen the shallowest recovery from all of those parks at 2.5%. And then, what was the last park that really had rounds of investment? It was actually Disney Hollywood Studios, and we see that next on the list with 10%. Magic Kingdom really hasn't gotten anything, but it has stayed pretty consistently as the most attended theme park in the world, and obviously one of the most popular parks. But Disney's Animal Kingdom, remember, that didn't have investment since 2017, and I think that is a reflection of that 36% drop from 2019 to 2024. I think is certainly a reflection of the lack of investment overall, bringing people to Disney's Animal Kingdom. Obviously, too, the lower hours and so forth. It's just really hard. It's not a compelling park for guests, and so they're going to be rectifying that a little bit. But I don't know if it's meaningful enough to really justify or really shore up these numbers right here. Magic Kingdom is going to be really interesting because can Magic Kingdom recover to its 2019 levels in such a way that justifies like the removal of Rivers of America, Cars Land, or by Piston Peak, I guess, Villains Land? What effects does that do those play when it comes to this attendance? Two, when you look at 2019 and 2024, the big differences between those is the implementation of the reservation system. And so can we get more capacity out of these parks and raise that reservation system up a little bit in order to have more people in these parks with these new additions? Again, this story has not yet been written, and it's really fascinating to see whether or not these investments for Disney are going to pay off here.
I honestly think that one of the reasons why Epcot has stayed mostly the same is because it is such a strong locals park. It is the Disney adult park. It is the drinking park, and I think that what we're starting to see is Magic Kingdom has got more after hours events now than they've ever had before, which means that people need somewhere to go afterward. And the easiest place to go after the Magic Kingdom is to Epcot. Epcot is kind of like this first comment here says, is it accurate to say Epcot has long been the default park when in doubt, go to Epcot. And it kind of is. It kind of is, and Epcot is the the park where they have injected the most of.
And so what we've tried to do is really bring that shape language from the architecture. But like what we love to talk about at WDI is shape language. And we often refer to shape language. There's such iconic shape language in Spaceship Reverie Attraction. We really wanted to make sure that we fused to that throughout the space.
It's that shape language that really has people going to that park. But I think you're really on something here, Marvin. That is kind of it's kind of become the AP park. It's kind of become the hangout park. It has a litany of festivals that keep people reinvested into that park. And so maybe that's kind of what we're seeing here. And it's the food and drink park. So obviously, if you have 2019 numbers being very similar to 2024 levels, we can estimate that revenue, difference right there might coincide as well. But we have not as much data as we need to really talk about that. But really, really interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm. MJ, Animal Kingdom down 36.6%. Now, of course, Animal Kingdom right now, maybe 5-6 attractions. Do you think that once the Encanto area opens up, we're going to start seeing that gap close a little bit? Or do you think people have just kind of checked out of Animal Kingdom?
I just feel like it's still the theme park with the most theming, the most immersiveness. I feel like once Tropical Americas opens, I do feel like the attendance will spike a little bit. But it still has, it's like a reputation of, the most boring park, right? Because people want to go on rides all day and it doesn't have that many rides. But it still has that beautiful ambiance of, being in nature, breathing the fresh air, having nice things to look at. And I really think that it deserves more than what it's been, It just makes me sad because Animal Kingdom is one of my most favorite theme parks to visit. And it's not for just what ride can I go on today. It's the food, it's the atmosphere, it's the ambiance, it's the, immersiveness that Joe Rohde really, really put his heart and soul in this theme park specifically. But to answer your question, I do think once Tropical Americas opens, attendance will spike a bit. Not that much.
At 36%. That's
we'll see what happens when that time comes. Because I still think not a lot of people know about Encanto. A lot of people know about Coco. It's a popular Pixar film, but not a lot of people have seen Encanto to love it, to gravitate towards it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, you're talking about whether or not something has gravitas to support an attraction. I would say Disney's been guilty of inserting bologna sausage like that into attractions to support their political messaging. And that's exactly what happened with Tiana's disastrous Bayou, destruction and many other things that they're doing, including the removal of Walt's very own, designed Rivers of America along with, the area that surrounds it now. So you're going to force an IP into a place that, how many people ever saw planes or trains or automobiles or whatever the frick that thing's based on, emergency vehicles or whatnot? Nobody saw that. That was a direct-to-video piece of trash that I think they tried to put in theaters, if I remember correctly. But you're not getting a Cars attraction like was originally envisioned for the corner, where they shoved in. Had they not turned where the Star Wars attractions were built, had they not turned Galaxy's Edge 14 degrees, they would have still had that open back corner to install originally envisioned Radiator Springs Racers duplicate from California there. You would have had an expanded Pixar Place conversation and maybe some other attraction space had you done that original plan. Again, all of these are terrible ideas. We've been talking about the failures of Imagineering. That's one of them. Land locking your lands shows nothing. But back to theming. look, they're shoving bad ideas in places, and they have been forever to try to make them relevant under Iger. It's been a bad idea there. It's been a bad idea here. I don't. What's better about the Studios Park before or after Streets of America?
I honestly, what's better, it was better beforehand because it actually had theming to the overall theme of the park. Now it's just a salute to all cinema, but mostly Star Wars.
I still think that going to Universal, like Islands had more original storytelling and rides versus Universal Studios. But can you just imagine, let's go back to Animal Kingdom. Can you imagine Tropical Americas with original storytelling and rides based on characters that they thought of and imagined and put care into and love? And then they could have like merchandise based around that, or food items based around that. I mean, Tropical Americas, there's a lot you could do with that. You have Brazil, you have Central America. I can go on and on. All those beautiful countries, all the beautiful animals that are in those beautiful countries. They could have really gotten creative with this instead of just, ooh, Encanto, ooh, Coco, really like.
Right now, MJ, you're talking about nobody doing things thoughtfully. Right. That's what we're talking about here. It's like, how is Divine an attraction or something people are interested in, and what times Divine might be available to see at Animal Kingdom? I mean, and who knows who that is or would even care? But that became a thing for a period of time. People went to go see Divine. I don't know why. To me, it's just, a bunch of sticks, in a different version of a ghillie suit, wandering around in given areas. Mm-hmm. But there's not a lot of IP tied to that, but they could have furthered development. I just think that they don't approach anything with thoughtful intent anymore. If they, which is why we ended up with Dinosaur Carnival Land that really did need to be replaced. I'm sorry.
Well, that Dinosaur Land was a staple in my daughter's childhood. So I like it.
I just look at this chart and I go 36%. You're 36% down at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Can you overcome that? Can you close that gap to the point that it needs to with Encanto, a Carousel, and Indiana Jones? I'm not sure if that gap right there will be closed to the point that I think Disney is intending for it to be. I just don't really see it. And so you have to look at, like Culture was saying, the thoughtfulness of their additions. Maybe Magic Kingdom can get 14% out of Villains Land and Cars. Cars is still a very, very big franchise. It's not going to be Cars Land. We'll see how that is accepted by the audience. But Villains Land is something definitely that people have been looking forward to see. It's really going to come down to the quality of execution when I see that. But 36% though, Animal Kingdom needs a lot. It needs a ton. I just don't know if Encanto will provide that.
Eric, I haven't heard from you yet in this one. I want to know what you think that Animal Kingdom can do to boost up people. Do you think it will even out, as they open up more attractions, or do you think Animal Kingdom is just going to be continued down on the downward slide? You're muted, Erica.
It's hard to tell when we know the trajectory of what's going on at Universal with their expansions and how quickly they're going to come on board before Disney's even finished with all of their current expansions. So there's that. And I don't know, Disney's Animal Kingdom, I feel like that park, for whatever reason, it's a very hot park. I don't know what it is, if it's the positioning and how the sun is angled. It is, you could just feel the heat from the cement just fry you to death, it seems like. And I think people have noticed that over the years, because I've always called it the Sahara. I'm crossing the Sahara walking into this park. Now, that aside, taking out Dino Land, and I guess the zoo element to the park, I don't know, has it lost its zeal over the years? I feel they're again going back to the heat, and I don't want to sound like Iger in this. I'm just trying to wrap my head around why there's such a massive decline, and will they be able to close that gap? I really don't know. I mean, the expansion going on over with Tropical Americas, I mean, honestly, I'll take that over what they're doing to Magic Kingdom. You know, that makes a little bit more sense than what's going on at Magic Kingdom, and it's more palatable. But
absolutely, guys. Well, you know, we can pontificate all we can, but the one thing that will tell us the answer to this question is time, and over time we will see how low it can go.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.